All right, good evening, everybody. I am trying to get a little bit closer to starting on time, and I had a couple things to interrupt for today, but we're starting pretty close, and I am really looking forward to coming back to Phantom Brigade, which is happening tonight. Now, we do have a new patch, so I'm actually going to take a second here to get the patch notes. I also wanted to take a quick second. So this is a month late, and I'm really bad at looking at the announcements on Brace Yourself's channel. A. Jared J, who was a member of the team, community manager, intern, would usually be stopping by the channel actually. Had his last day all the way back on August 27th. So like I said, I'm almost a month late on this. So I wanted to just take a minute and acknowledge that. And for those of you who are coming in really early, he is actually still streaming. He's streaming quite a bit more lately, actually. A lot of music streams. And I hope you all get a chance to check out his stuff. But I wanted to take a minute to specifically acknowledge that because, of course, we have been blessed with the presence of many Brace Yourself members. But it's always nice to sort of mark the milestones for people, even if that means that they're moving on to other things. It also gives me a chance to try and find the announcements. It's mostly just looking for patch notes. Freddie LaChance, thank you very much for the follow. Here we go. Okay, so there's a YouTube video which I am going to play. Actually, you know, maybe I'll change it up a little bit. I'll bring the video up first, and then we can unpack all of the goodies. So please enjoy the advertising for Update 10 Festival of Fire. So in case you wondered why I think this game is awesome, I also want to take a quick second. So patch note time is time we get to say a very big and special thank you to QA for finding all of the bugs, and of course the developers for adding new things and fixing all of the bugs. But I also wanted to take a minute and mention Riley Koning. I'm not very good at pronunciation. I think the soundtrack is fantastic, and actually, if you go to Bandcamp, this is UBC compositions, but there is an old. So this is from the 2019 EP. The track that you were listening to off of that was a. There's an early version of this. It actually has this one really synthy part, which I like quite a bit, and the synth is pulled back in sort of the modern version of it. I think it might be Nervous Battle. Yeah. So I'm going to play this for you. I do highly encourage you. So first of all, it's Name Your Price. But I believe there is a note here that if you buy the soundtrack, it does go to Dr. Koning's student loans, which, as someone who is still paying off, I'm in the home stretch. I think it's less than a year. But there's a nice big bundle of music, and I do believe some of the money goes towards it. So I'll leave it to you to decide which version you like, but we are going to read the patch notes Patch highlights, event horizon, new narrative events to run into, my way or the highway, new highway map, resource rarities, build parts and subsystems in different rarities, new looks, new sounds, visual and audio improvements, and more. Phantom Brigade is in early access, which means we are actively updating and adding new content based on our roadmap and your wonderful feedback. We update Phantom Brigade on the third Tuesday of every month. You can expect the next major update on Tuesday, October 19th, 2021 at 11 a.m. PT. This is the synthy bit I like. And the little metal arm indicates a community change. New events, Pharma. A newly liberated settlement asks Phantom to deliver pharmaceuticals to a nearby settlement that they haven't been able to contact. Festival. When near a liberated settlement, you notice a festival starting up. Now freed from the occupying forces, the townspeople have been able to put on their annual Festival of Fire. Director's Cut. The Brigade is accosted by a Homeland Media Group, which have been endeavoring to record the battles and war effort around them to create a documentary of the war. Having heard of the Brigade's reputation, the director is entranced by the possibility of recording history and is intent on accompanying the Brigade to their next fight. New highway map. This challenging map is a highway going through a large valley with high cliffs. Can be found on convoys. Project and resource rarities. You can now build parts and subsystems in different rarities using uncommon and rare resources. Get uncommon and rare resources by dismantling common and uncommon and rare parts in the base or after combat in the salvage screen. Parts now list their stats. In their stats, how many resources are dropped when dismantled. These can be used to build uncommon and rare parts in the workshop. More workshop improvements. Elbrus and AR common projects now have unlimited charges. Updated subsystem project descriptions so that they reflect all project rarities. Increased opacity on text in project UI to make descriptions more legible. Projects no longer disappear from the workshop when the charges reach 0. Weapon and subsystem improvements. Thermal weapons now have unique models. The SGE-05 Dragon Incendiary Splitter. I'll just let the soundtrack keep running. Again, please do visit Riley Koenig at bandcamp.com to pick up some lovely music for yourself. New stat bars on various damage. And the Tracer has a unique model as well. New stat bars on various weapons. Damage buildup. How long it takes for damage to ramp up to full potential. Stagger damage determines the stagger damage inflicted by the weapon. Concussive damage. Base concussive damage inflicted by a weapon projectile. This can knock out pilots in combat, which I think has always been there. I just wasn't 100% sure how. We'll see how this works. Scatter radius determines the accuracy of missiles. A high scatter increases the chance of the missile landing next to the target instead of hitting it directly. New weapon icon added group icons for beams, light, medium, heavy melee, sabers, axes, blades, and updated the ultra heavy icon. Improved naming on armor to clarify the part's weight class. Improved weapon filtering. You can now filter by more weapon types and added sorting by trait. Added description to the Halberd T1 head armor. Advanced H-class armor produced by JNI. Modern all-rounder design, owing its unusual shape to additional sensor hardware mounted inside its horns. Rarely used in the field due to servicing complexity and narrow specialization. Adjusted textures on various armor sets, simplified the subsystem filters, and shortened names to avoid overlap. Music and sound. New main music track. Looking forward to that. Brace yourself! We'll let the Ark of the Covenant settle down for a little bit. First of all, 7 months, my god. I'm at the point here where I'm feeling that I'm pulling away from. I feel like I'm pulling away from development resources. Finally made it. Oh, I mean, I've been pretty inconsistent with my start times, so I actually think this is totally on me. And as you know, I've got a lot of stuff on my plate, so I would actually prefer if I could go back to having 2 or 3 Brace Yourself games a week, but one of the things that has been on the to-do list has been to finish Boyfriend Dungeon, which of course I know there is a great love between Kit Fox Games and Brace Yourself. So, it's kind of hard to say that the time is not being well spent, but I think as everyone can agree, there really is no such thing as too much Brace Yourself games. So I was gonna take a minute to point this out, but let me see if I can find this link here. not to put the Brace Yourself account on the spot, but I did notice on Twitter they are advertising that they are hiring. So for those of you who are interested, they are currently looking for a producer and a community manager. I believe both are jobs with experience, but I think one of the best things that you can do, and this is a lesson that I've been learning, I was at a point where I was not hearing anything back from companies, and I am still moving forward with Ubisoft, and then EA and Activision Blizzard have both gotten back to me. I have no idea whether or not I'll pull the trigger, but I do think that if it is something that interests you and you think it would be a good fit, this may be a time to take a look. And obviously, again, I didn't mean to put the Brace Yourself Twitch account on the spot, but if you would like to have cool coworkers, those roles may be for you. All right, where is my? I made a big mistake by closing this. I cannot find the patch notes. There we go. Okay, new main menu track, which I'm looking forward to. Workshop track, more SFX added to Fabricator arms, new audio options. Compressed mode lowers the volume of loud sounds and increases the volume of quiet sounds. Great for playing at night or streaming. Mono mode centers the sound output, useful for playing the sound out of one headphone speaker, for example. That's actually a great idea, because I sometimes, if I am expecting a call or something like that, I'll usually leave a headphone off. So, oh, the music's a tad loud? I am so sorry. So, thank you for pointing that out. You know what, probably we'll just do that manually. I probably was being drowned out for the first few, so we're going to read from the start. No, I'm kidding. My apologies to those of you who... my apologies to those of you who couldn't hear the updates. But the good news is that we'll be playing this wonderful game, so you'll get to experience all of it. Hopefully that's a little bit better. If you guys find it a little too loud, just let me know. And Delves, great to see you. I don't think you've seen me play Phantom Brigade before. You're in for a real treat tonight. Okay. Visual improvements, damage shader improvements, and improved hit reaction animations. I'm looking forward to these. I mean, this is a game that is just so much fun to see all the animations go on. Rebalance supplies generated from dismantling parts to account for the subsystem rarity changes. Interestingly enough, they don't say if it goes up or down. Upgraded cost and rewards on various events, and reduced the amount of loot awarded from caches. Oh, that's interesting. Miscellaneous assigned rarities to subsystems, so this is a community-driven change. Reduce the number of fragments on non-heavy shotgun projectiles. Interesting. I'm just trying to think. So I know I haven't been commenting a whole lot on some of the... I haven't been commenting too much on what I think some of the implications of these are, just because they seem to be very straightforward inside of the notes here. I'm interested in what this will do just in terms of my relative interest of these various ones. Improved overworld. Actually, another thing I like about the soundtrack, I do like that opening sound that goes in there. I'm not even going to try to approximate it with my vocal cords, but there's a lot of little nice bits in the soundtrack. Okay, added debug tooltip to parts. Was previously only on subsystems. Updated the credits. Updated descriptions on different part rarities. Workshop tutorial event now triggers when the player collects 200 supplies. Okay, just for Brace Yourself who resubscribe. Let's see. Let's get a proper. All right. Wow. That's about as close as I'm going to be able to get it. If that winds up mixed into the soundtrack, I am going to cry every time that track turns on. April 1st, the soundtrack is now a cappella. Index Gnome, good to see you. Sending it to Power Up. Oh god. See, knowing Power Up audio. Power Up are the people who wound up driving the ancestral bestowment, for all we know. Yeah. who knows what that Kevin person. Well, I know it's not just Kevin, but they do crazy things. Okay, we've got some fixes. So fixed Starburst and Cluster MLs launching too many missiles. Sure, that's not a feature. Spike axes not appearing in base and combat. Medium or heavy melee weapons having swap models. Fixed beam weapons not firing. Fixed various event issues with locked sight, such as defensive caches. Is the music over? No, the music should be fine. Loading is not available when quitting to main menu during turn execution or fallback. Fixed Ostbagger while liberation objective not appearing. Fixed heat dissipation on optimal intervals displaying incorrectly on the salvage screen. Fixed holes in military base and forest maps. Oh, that's interesting. So way back, like 4 updates ago, I remember like falling through the map at one point. I wonder if that's what they're referring to. Many fixes to various events such as the War Memorial, Market, and Defector events. Sped up the transition animation for dual-wielding guns or a gun and a shield. Fixed comms not aligning with the VO during the tutorial. Fixed a shield pose while firing, causing the unit to brace upwards. This is the mech game. Fixed an issue with dash or melee dash animations playing consecutively. I actually think I might have seen this one. Fixed interactions, an event between the tutorial workshop and farm entities. Director event. Is it director event? Can no longer trigger in the tutorial provinces. I may not. Sorry, I might be thinking of a different one. Fixed flickering in the window of a house in the outro cutscene. Fixed some unit groups not generating the correct quality equipment. Fixed loot from events not appearing in the update log in the overworld. Ultra heavy beam. Solar burst now filters as a heavy weapon instead of a beam weapon. Fixed shading on shield assets. Fixed an animation issue where shields appear to fly out of the unit's hand. Again, I consider that a feature, not a bug. Training army juggernaut units now have sidearms. Fixed units with the inventory not displaying armor subsystems correctly. Abbreviated auxiliary to AUX on various subsystems to prevent text overlap. Various fixes on subsystems, stat comparison fixed. Stat comparison. I think this might be a new bullet point. Fixed an issue causing parts to disappear when other parts are previewed in unit editing. Maybe not. Improved the selection area of checkboxes in the inventory. Cleaned up a placeholder text on beam weapons. Various fixes to holstering animations. Fixed animation when executing multiple dashes consecutively. Parts that don't have any matching stats are now hidden when compared in unit editing. Fixed an issue where events revealing caches. Sorry, I know these ones are not as exciting for me to run through. Fixed an issue where events revealing caches were triggered when there were no valid locations. Objective of up ahead event does not dismiss. Use force option takes only 4 hours. Fixed an issue where some subsystem projects did not add parts to the inventory. Sensor subsystems corrected to stabilizer. Fixed base location highlight not updating when the base moves away. Fixed an issue where scrap received from dismantling parts wasn't accurate. Fixed an issue where pilots could not be recruited from liberated sites in hostile provinces. I wonder... We haven't actually been able to recruit anybody in this particular run, but that might just be because of the places that I've been trying to do that. You were contemplating robotics as your main focus in uni before you decided on that. Oh, that would have been really interesting. I have no mind at all for robotics, but I am really interested in what people have done. Obviously, you get to see all the videos now. Added UI to indicate mech frame builds do not consume project charges. Replace placeholder text on mech frame builds. Fixed subsystems UI not displaying rarity colors in the list. Fixed workshop audio carrying into other parts of the game. Fixed plasma axe name. It was appearing as Firestarter, now corrected to plasma. And fixed a visual issue with the spark handgun rounds appearing to start in the torso of the mech. So, with all due respect to Dr. Koenig, and you know what? I know I talked about it, but for those of you that would like to buy the EP that we've been listening to in the background, that is the... Oh, I don't remember which level I had it at before. I'm going to have to rely on you good people to let me know if the game audio gets too loud. This is the PAX East 2019 EP, so this is some earlier music. And it's a Name Your Price album. I would actually consider the whole discography is 1833. And again, I don't recall where I read it, but the site does point out that Um, buying the music does help with the student loans, which I think would be a very nice thing to do. And come on. Sorry, I'm trying to get Epic to open. It's 20 minutes. We haven't gotten to the game yet. Phantom Brigade. Now is also the time for me to point out, we of course have Brace Yourself in the channel. Brace Yourself Games very kindly gave me a copy of this game for promotional purposes, and I am clearly in their pocket, but I'm in their pocket as a huge fan of their stuff before I was streaming their stuff. So I actually don't believe I've ever streamed Crypt of the Necrodancer, as much as I enjoy and am kind of crappy at it. But Brace Yourself runs a wonderful Twitch channel on their own. They've got a really cool Discord as well. But of course, the really important thing is that when you've been given a key, it is a very good idea to disclose that you've been given that for promotional purposes. So, like I said, I'm completely in their pocket as a very big fan, but I was also given this wonderful object of value. And of course, for those of you who are looking into this game, I do highly recommend picking it up. It's currently available on Epic in early access. So if you are not a fan of Epic, or you are waiting for the game to get into a kind of fuller state of completion, I would encourage you to at least wishlist the game, because that does provide them useful information as well. But for those of you who have the means and think this is a cool looking game, please do support them, because they are very cool Canadian developers. Adelaide, hey, we have got is it creative lead or is it design lead? Sorry, I don't get a chance to read the early access because I'm busy singing the praises. And actually, I'm sorry, I probably Brace Yourself is properly labeled, but maybe Adelaide should have been. I should have said, you know, we have some VIPs in the chat right now, so I've outed them as somebody who's responsible for the experience that we are about to embark on. But congratulations on another update. I've not yet played it. I am my usual talkative self, spending 20 minutes on the patch notes before jumping in. But I mean, I already like this game, right? So we get a chance to experience it all together. Seizure Warning. A very small percentage of people may experience a seizure when exposed to certain visual images, including flashing lights or visual patterns. These seizures may have a variety of symptoms, including lightheadedness, altered vision, eye or face twitching, jerking or shaking of arms or legs, disorientation, confusion, or momentary loss of awareness. Immediately stop playing and consult a doctor if you experience any of these symptoms. If you or any of your relatives have a history of seizures or epilepsy, it is recommended that you consult a doctor before playing. Made it with time to spare. Wise guys made this, and there we go. Now, I was promised new music. Am I losing it? I will take a quick second here just to talk about the roadmap as well. So we've been going through the campaigns. We've now passed September, so workshop, project rarities, thermal weapons art, new narrative events. And next month we get to look forward to even more combat areas, combat weather. I am really, really looking forward to that from a visual standpoint. Oh, Riley Cody. Okay, so the person whose Bandcamp I pointed you to. This is this glorious experience that you just had listening to that big build-up. Your music. Okay. One thing that I actually wanted to say to you all, listen to me like this. Oh my god. This means absolutely nothing, but for some reason I thought this was very cool. It was very good. Hello, Ascending Order. Specifically to Riley Koenig. So some of you will know that I miss Vancouver a lot, and I went to UBC. Endix Gnome, thank you very much for the subscription. I actually wanted to say it is entirely possible that I was at UBC sitting in the so I would have been going to the Faculty of Music to like listen to the concerts, but it's possible that the composer of this game was earning their PhD while I was busy scrambling to try and do my econometrics. This is the new song, right? Oh, it's all in good fun. Brace yourself. But yeah, needless to say, you are a far more impressive individual and have done much more with your studies than I have. And one would think economics is a very employable degree, but man, good work. Yeah, does everybody mind if we spend a little time enjoying this lovely music while we go through? I believe, actually, so one other thing I'll just say, because we've got developers in the chat, and I know I'm really bad at this because I think probably people just want to see how I react to the game. But I am actually going to take a quick second here. One feature I love about Phantom Brigade, and I wish more Unity and some Unreal games would do this as well, is that when I tab out or when I move out of the game, it doesn't kill the sound. So I get to do these wonderful things like, say, for those of you who are very impressed by the Brace Yourself people, I would be the worst possible. I would be the worst possible community manager. Yeah, this is a really good song. But yeah, so while I'm busy getting that Discord, and for those of you who want to enjoy this wonderful chat experience that you're seeing here, please do follow that link, because Brace Yourself has done a wonderful job of sort of building and maintaining a great community. Man, I'm liking this new song. But yeah, so I mean, I was able to get that link without interrupting the kind of this title. I find it really helpful for me as a broadcaster. So I just a special comment to that, because I know that is not something that comes out by default. Most games don't do that, and it's something that I actually appreciate a lot. And yeah, so we would have been at university around the same time then, because I graduated in 2016. Yeah. So that, I mean, I was always guessing on that, but that's cool. Now I need to wonder if I ever walked past you, because obviously UBC is a reasonably big campus. I mean, I actually, around that time, the economics moved out of Buchanan Tower, which is obviously a very grim-looking building, into the former School of Theology, which looks like a castle and is beautiful. So I got to enjoy my master's there, and then I had to go to the grim atmosphere of our nation's capital. Although it's raining out, so it reminds me a little bit of Vancouver. Anyways, let's get back into the main game. My God, August 25th, it's almost been a month since we played this last. A very good friend also doing an economics degree during that time. You might know him. If you want to mention if you just quietly pass me a name, you can DM it or send it along. I would be happy to confirm or deny, or we can just leave it a mystery. But it's possible. I mean, I also know, depending on if they were in my cohort, I know a friend of mine said apparently when it came time for the thesis, to present to everybody, people really feared me asking a question or giving a comment, which obviously I was not trying to be a jerk. But that may not have been taken the right way. So perhaps it would be better if everything was kept anonymous. Okay, so we liberated the warehouse complex. It looks like we're going after the villa. No, we're finishing fix the power lines. So sent me a DM. Okay, sorry guys. I'm actually really curious about this. So it's. But I promise we will jump immediately into combat straight after. You may hear a whole bunch of YouTube videos. Holy crap, there's a lot of you. I never look at my... Oh, yes. Okay, actually, I have a slightly funny story about... So... I'm hoping that there are no hard feelings or that, but actually I do know him. I believe he's still in Vancouver. And the reason I mention that is because one of the last times I talked with him, we had to do grading. And I had sort of trusted him to fairly divide the classes, like the work. So it's like, he's like, oh, I want to get this done early, so, can we get started right away? And like I was in the middle of doing something else because I also had like a research component that I was helping out with. So I was like, yeah, sure, just divide it however you think it's fair. He totally didn't. I got every single hard, like, you have to exercise judgment kind of question. And I was like, oh, you... So... Anyways, I hope he is doing well. Yes, that's totally, he was absolutely in my cohort. I did promise you all combat, and Index Gnome, I did want to take a second, and I said thank you for the sub, but it was a very quick thank you, so I never want to take that for granted. It just happens that there was a flood of activity in the chat, and I was looking for it. Man, chat has made me very nostalgic today. So, you know that town? Yeah, I do know. I'm not 100% sure how far the the references go. I believe if you want like overall story for this, I believe it's sort of, I think alternate history might be the best way of putting it. So it's a, very much Earth-like but not Earth, kind of a. Or maybe I guess it would be Earth, but just had it gone down a different path. I actually wind up really screwing up all of the pronunciations of everything because it either is a reference to Norse mythology, which I don't know as well. Alternate version of Earth. Cool. My pronunciation at the best of times is very, very questionable. Power move. Your pilot roped in the rest of the squad to help, and they carefully reconnect the power lines. After a few grueling hours, the sound of electricity whirring back to life reaches them. The man who reported the problem comes out of his house looking very pleased indeed. Thank you, he says. It would have been a lot harder for us to fix without those mech suits. It was our fault. It's only right that we fixed it, your pilot says. We'll be singing the Brigade's praises, that's for sure, he says, and hands you some bottles of cold beverages. These are a small token of our appreciation. Your crew, frazzled but triumphant from their electrical work, are more than happy to take them. So, was it, Kovangan? You happen to know someone who could answer these kinds of questions for you? Oh wait, we did liberate this village. Uh-oh, do we have compatibility problems? I don't mind resetting the, oh no. We just didn't find... 500 Oh, that's really cool, Index Gnome. Alright, let's go get that convoy. Actually, another thing, your save should upgrade cleanly, emphasis on should. Yeah, that was actually one thing I quite like about Phantom Brigade, because it's, I know there was that one patch where it said, we recommend to reset. So usually I just kind of need like a flag to say it's like, okay, that's fine. We're gonna redo the save, because I mean, like, it's a really enjoyable game to go through the start, and I think there's some value in just sort of seeing what the onboarding process is like each time. So really the best I can ever hope for on a game that's in development is, just somebody letting me know. I had a secret set of videos that I was doing. I lost 14 hours of progress because the developer updated the game, and it was one of these like paid DLC updates with a few like kind of small updates in the background, nothing like really major for people who didn't buy the DLC. So effectively what happened was this 14-hour series that I did, it was a surprise announcement, and I was doing this series in the background. I was gonna like put a whole like hours of video up on YouTube to surprise everybody, and essentially to change the main menu to tell me that I'm not playing the full version of the game. The save broke. I was no longer able to progress inside of the game, and so I just saw it all vanish. That was not a brace yourself game, by the way. I do have some brace yourself stuff that I've been sitting on, and I've been waiting for a couple of updates to finish them. But yeah, that was the worst one. It was a Paradox game. Paradox makes enough stuff that people will be guessing as to what it was. But I've been delighted by. I mean, even just getting a month's notice of when the new update's coming in. Anyway, sorry. I promised combat. A hostile squad is passing nearby. Our base is now within their sensor range, so moving would reveal our position. But we have the upper hand for now. If we're not prepared to face the enemy, we may be able to execute an emergency retreat. But now could be a good time to strike. Indeed, it is. Try to be really careful about losing progress. We might need to do a minor reset when we finish the campaign overhauls. Yeah, and I mean, no, I'm gonna guess the hammer probably is the one with the heavy weapon. That's why it's... Yep, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't actually think it's the... I don't think it's the worst sin possible that you know, that you need to reset progress. But it is kind of nice if you're prepping something to be able to like just have a deadline in terms of where you know, where you're gonna have to snip it. But Phantom Brigade in particular has actually been really gentle, and probably all the more surprising because I know you've already got mod support in this, which I haven't taken a look at yet. Okay, so we're going to take the same squad as before. I actually don't remember what a lot of these have. So there's the linebacker, beam and shield, stalwart, machine gun and shield. The hammer is just listed as heavy, and then the Sleipnir, assault rifle and handgun. So my crew is obviously very tired, but they're also tired in the kind of the cinematic trailer, so... Command, rebel units just entered visual range. I'm outnumbered, requesting rapid response team, ASAP. So, 2 objectives, A and B, reinforcements coming in 2 turns, and we have... Okay, these are the objectives. That's a lot of guys. Okay, 2 mechs. Let's take a look at what... Okay, so cannon, something to fear at long range. Ooh, assault rifle's always kind of neat to see on these things. No knife Roomba, sadly. I think the knife Roomba was patched out many ages ago. Okay. The beam I might be able to solve with a judicious use of a... Okay, so 2 beams. And there's a 3rd tank. Okay, so 2 tanks with assault rifles, 1 at long range. In general... And we don't have a lot of places to hide. But the good news is it looks like they all hate... One might say the assembled occupation forces believe that it is hammer time. So we will take advantage of that fact and beat the crap out of them. Actually, because this is the assault rifle, I think we're going to take advantage of mobility. So we'll find an ideal shot first. So I think I could get away with 3 shots. No, not that close. So one of them is just kind of for the heck of it. I'll try and push it as close. Yeah. So generally I try, if I can, I don't like having sort of an empty heat gauge because that just means that I kind of see that as a wasted resource. The real temptation for me, now that I know it creates anger, the real temptation is going to be not to say that more often. But yeah, so generally I don't like having an empty heat meter. It kind of feels like a wasted resource. Okay, they are going to want to beat me up a little bit. I am a little curious if I just stay put. There are things I want to do with this unit. I just haven't quite worked it out in my head yet. I should probably do that now. So the biggest advantage that I see is that because everybody wants to take out the hammer, I should try and move the unit in such a way that they kind of hit each other. It looks like I may not quite be in the right spot. Well... So I do open myself up to... Yeah, I do open myself up to getting hit by a beam. Let's try it. See who wins the game of chicken. Heat's just enough. So is integrity. Yeah. I'm gonna do my best. Oh, right. I've actually never been very good at using the beam, so this could have consequences. Maybe one other thing I should take a look at as well, because this is in a pretty skinny little frame. How much damage is? Oh, right. It's a beam, so I'm not gonna have an exact number, or am I? No, I'm not. Okay. So this one's a little clearer in terms of what I want to do. So I'm going to run up. Put up the shield. Because I believe beams reflect. I think I'm pointing the shield at the wrong. So for those of you unfamiliar with Phantom Brigade, basically there's two bits of sort of, there's the setup. This is where you plan out your turn. So lots of different games that you can compare it to, but my personal favorite is just to sort of say Into the Breach, because you have full knowledge of what your enemies are going to be doing. And this game, the Phantom Brigade, has an AI that basically will give you perfect knowledge of the enemy's intentions. The reason I highlight intentions is that one of the really fun bits about this game is that you can sort of affect the outcome. So again, we know which enemies are going to shoot at me, but I get to control where I move. So if they decide to shoot at the hammer, well, I get to move the hammer in such a way that they wind up attacking each other. So and then of course, like if I take one of my my mechs and then I just go ramming into one of the tanks with a shield, well, they'll potentially just go, banging into the others, and that'll sort of throw off the angles for everything. So it's a really neat one. Again, I like pointing out that basically you have perfect knowledge of what the enemy is going to do, and so you can build your plan around it. And on paper, it seems like you have a ridiculous advantage, but this game, at least for me, and it might be because I'm a bit of a moron, this game does a really good job of setting traps for me, and I'm like, oh, I really should have thought about that at the time. So really, this turn is a little bit more about getting into position and hopefully not like getting wiped out by my own units. So I think for now I'll just move up and leave it be. So general plans. 1, get this unit in closer, reflect the beam back, take advantage of the fact that everybody hates the hammer. So the hammer is going to be able to deliver its heavy payload on the enemy. It is going to take a little damage for doing so, but there's also going to be damage that comes from an enemy unit in the back. In this game, I believe, so there's no back armor like in BattleTech. I believe if you hit a unit in the back, the damage goes to the legs, which is advantageous for me. If it was more like BattleTech, obviously it would have been optimal for me to take a unit, or like to take this heavy and maybe attack a different unit, because clearly, like if you're piloting a mech, the best thing is just to kind of rotate the torso and get all the damage before you lose the thing. But that's more of like a Mech Warrior Online bit. And then the Sleipnir is really the kind of the playmaker out of this, sort of running up. I don't think we're going to be able to take this tank off the board, but we can at least soften it up a little bit. So once you've done doing your planning phase, where sort of it's like a non-linear editing system, you take your clips, you put them down. you get to hit the execute option, and you can watch it play out in real time, but ever since it was pointed out that there's a slow motion mode, I've pretty much extended my play time by hitting it. So I will hit space as well, and we will enjoy the moment. Although maybe we'll speed it up for the start. Okay. So what we're really looking for here is this oh, I completely forgot. I think the beams take a while to turn. So it's possible that they're not going to hit each other in the back as much as I thought that they would. Either way, right now this is all refreshable. Oh yeah, that's right there. And of course, you are morally obligated whenever firing a big gun to do this shot. This is coming up on this guy's performance review. So, I believe it is listed under the upcoming features that the plan is going to be that there's a full replay mode at the end of the battle, but obviously it is much more interesting to have a game that you can play and enjoy that creates those moments you want to share with people, than it is to just have the replays. So. I figured I'd get that out of the way because I'm assuming that comes up a lot. Okay, so this is all well and good. What do I do with this dog's breakfast of an engagement? Because I mean, one bit of good news, we could say, haha, we have them surrounded. But if they have more firepower than us, we're in a bit of trouble. So let's just see where it's all going. So we're firing away. I don't think there's a whole lot that we can really do. I mean, I can stand and deliver. Maybe I'll have it both ways. So for the tail end of the attack, maybe I start. So if I start moving at the very beginning of the turn, I pretty much give up on doing the damage. But I do get behind the hill just in time, and that... Okay. I actually like that because that gives me... so the reason why I like this is that it seems like there's two units which are focusing on the hammer. And that means that that's going to be two of my units which I can sort of run around and try and beat up on the enemy units. I think what I'm going to do here, I'll cancel all the movement just so we can have a fresh turn. I think I'm going to start by reacting to whoever is shooting at my own unit. So in this case, we've got... These units are moving on. So we've got one attack coming in on Polaris. So that's currently coming from a tank which is behind a hill. So there's not a huge reason for me to move this unit right now, because they're obviously able to get their shot. Now, as we saw with the beams, they tend not to move very quickly, so we might want to try and make sure that we have a proper line setup. This actually would not be a terrible opportunity. So depending on how they're moving, if I were to do a little something like this, because it's possible that they're just going to wind up sort of running into each other. Of course, if I'm keeping the hammer hidden behind here, then essentially what I wind up doing is beaming my own unit, because that tactic worked extremely well for the enemy. But in any case, I don't actually have a whole lot to fear from the shot coming from the from this tank, so we're not going to move this unit. It means really the last thing I need to worry about is the shot that's going to be coming in from this unit. Now, this unit's fresh, so one option I have is just to take the machine gun, let her rip. I think I fired at the wrong one, but that's out of range. So, okay, so if I just go straight for the tank, it's probably a respectable amount of damage. So that's 900 if everything lands. That's probably enough to take it out. In most, I think probably we can rely on this thing crashing in the turn. Ideally, we want that thing to crash before the 2-second mark, because that will interrupt the attack that's happening on the Sleipnir. Kilo. Now the next question is, with my heat where it is, do I have an opportunity to do another attack? So the heat runs up. But I'm actually willing... I'm willing to take that heat damage because it means I can throw up the shield just in time for... just in time for the enemy. So basically, I get to be really lazy this turn. We'll figure out something else to do with the hammer in a little bit, but let's figure out the rest of what I'm going to do with my squad. So let's say I'm still considering holding this unit here. I might revise that plan. Like, it would be really good to try and get this unit in to beam, you know, like basically use this road as a nice big opportunity for the beam. But that may have consequence. Well, actually, you know what? Probably the one thing that would solve it would be, I mean, obviously the machine gun's going to have something to say about this, but if I moved like this, we sort of get friendly fire. So if I went out and around like this, I crash into my own unit. I can't think of any situation in which it's a good idea to go and walk in front of a firing machine gun. Okay. So we get the potential friendly fire. I will wait till I'm standing still. Yeah, it works for me. I know, so I'm targeting... Actually, you know what? I think that works a little bit better. Again, I want to be conscious of the fact that it's turning, so if I target this unit, I think I'm actually going to try and track them, and I think it's better that I just let the beam run. And better still, I don't believe this unit takes any damage. So goes into the hill for most of it. They stop firing, so the machine gunner doesn't take the shot. Cool. So I'm going to be running on the assumption that there's no more damage coming onto this unit after the 2-second mark. I don't really think there's anything I can do about the damage in between anyway. So the best I think I can really hope for is just to try and take out some of these units in the back. And of course I do need to deal with the... I do need to deal with my heat issues. No, I did say that we were pretty sure we were going to take that thing out. That's wasting heat. And this is an extremely optimistic way of looking at my heat, so yeah, we'll leave that be. I'm not entirely sure this is the best place for me to leave this unit, but it does have the protection of this hill. So depending on the way that this unit crashes, I might be safe from any retaliation. You're off for the day. Glad I was able to catch up to the stream. Thank you so much, Brace Yourself Games. Again, I know my hours are a little tricky, but it's not only that I appreciate you hanging out, but it was wonderful to get a chance to see so many phantom faces in the channel. So thank you for the resub. Thank you for being who you are. It's wonderful. It's always wonderful to see you all in the channel. And I hope you have a great evening. All right, so we are going to do I think we're going to do a real-time display. Wow. Well, look at all of this wonderful damage that got added. The people who made this game must be geniuses. Seriously, how can you people not want to buy this game? Yeah, so that worked a hell of a lot better than I was planning. I guess Nikita is responsible for this particular little choke point. God, that was a remarkably satisfying, by the way. I was not expecting everything to get wiped out all at once. I was expecting some success. I wasn't maybe expecting completely like annihilating the enemy kind of success. Oh, Pavel Oh, sorry, I made the map. Yeah, and Pavel's responsible for the new damage shaders. I'm doing my level best to try and get the names and face. Well, some faces. I know not everybody appears on the stream, but as I'm fond of reminding everyone, I am a bit of a moron and my pronunciation is pretty rotten. So I will express my appreciation through just kind of having my jaw hit the floor every time there's a new update. Yeah, I noticed that in the patch notes actually, so that's another thing to look forward to. I'm assuming, of course, that those maps have probably been in development for a while and they're just getting the wrapper taken off, but either way, Christmas in October. Okay, so we need to deal with tanks. The good news is that because the treads are gone on this one, it's sort of stuck. It's also buried, so we don't need to worry too much about this one, other than the damage that it's going to do. This unit isn't actually attacking me this round, so I don't know if it'll surrender, but I think I should probably treat it as hostile. The big question I have is if I go and try and take the objective. Is this going to open me up to an attack? No, it's going to open up his companion to an attack. This probably won't help my scrap, but I don't think it would hurt to do a little cleanup. Okay, as for the rest of this, I don't really have a whole lot of... My squad is reasonably slow. So I think in this case here, we'll just we'll fire the beam. Hope it does something. I've actually not done this moving. And then I wonder if I can prepare the way for... Yeah, no, I think this will just move into position. I'm not crazy about sort of locking the Sleipnir down on recovering the objectives, but I don't know. I could get some damage done while I. Olaf, thank you very much for the host. All right, so that beam really needs the plane. So okay, that's unlucky for my hammer. So yeah, the attack's basically happening right away. So I guess I can get a dash to try and avoid the worst of it. Doesn't quite work for me. This is kind of overkill to do this to a tank, but... So the real question here is going to be, how do I deal with this particular shot? I'll do my absolute best to try and jump in front of it. Yeah, they're just shooting too high to... So best I can do is just try and damage it as much as I can before too hot. Hey, that works. Okay, so we jump over. They are firing the missile at us, so it's possible we'll get hit by it, but we are able to jump over and open fire with the machine gun for the turn. What kind of missile? I think it's a sidearm, so it probably can't do that much damage. Yeah, 241 in a full... Wait a minute. Nope, that's a primary. 750. Okay, that thing actually means business. But it's an adventure, right? I hate that I'm doing this. How you doing, Olaf? I'm really happy to see you. All right. This one I got to do in slow-mo just so I can... Oh wait, we don't know what we're doing with this unit yet. This is actually kind of a tough one, because I don't think this will count. I'll try. It's not really surrendering or doing anything. But like I said, I'm going to do this in slow motion just so we can see what happens with the missile. Okay, good. Alright, the crate is locked on. Our drone has the coordinates, and we should be descending any second now. So I blew it on the slow-mo thing. Does this... Sorry, I think I misunderstood what... Oh, it's a starburst! Okay. So if I would love to make it just a jump to the left, but in this case, it is actually a jump to the right. That will save me. And again, I'm going to take the heat damage, but I have a feeling that heat damage is not nearly as bad as missile damage. So this time we are going to go slow-mo so I can see what the consequences of my actions will be. And then the rest of this is really just cleanup. I kind of thought that this unit might get wiped out, but no such luck. So we gotta wait for... Actually, you know what? So if they're firing missiles at us, I'm gonna wait for them to start. And I'd love to close the gap, but the Vulcan is useless to me at close range, so we're gonna zip away and pray. So, I could do something useful like participate in combat, but no, we want the loot. So, who isn't doing anything this turn? We're beaming, we're running. Running. Yeah, that's not going to work. So, we'll just watch what dodging missiles looks like. I probably don't need to actually spend the whole turn running from the missiles, but we'll see. I'm wasting a beam on the tank now, aren't I? They might cross over. Cool. I mean, it's all regen damage, so that's not really something we can take to the bank, but... Alright, the drone is a rough location of the crate, but we're going to need another ping to ensure it's picked up. Stay at the location to finish this. So if it really takes me this long to take out this unit, the Sleipnir will be available next turn. Who do they... Well, they really like using that missile launcher. Oh, okay, they want to hurt the Sleipnir. Well, it does look like it takes a while for those missiles to arrive, so I'm going to get on a hill. Excuse me. If I can get a nice sort of straight line, that would be best.
Excuse me. I have a feeling that the engine, like the mechanics in the bay are just going to be glaring at Polaris for running so hot on this mission. The reason I'm doing this again is that there's this nice little move here, and the earlier I can get in on it, the more damage I can do with my beam weapon. So I hate that I'm running hot like this, but that's why we made regenerating armor. Okay, so again, apparently we've given up on scrap, and everybody's just going to go to town on this guy. Oop, who doesn't have orders? Oh, probably the same here. And the missiles never make it. All right. I don't know if it's designed so that you get the new map when a new update arrives, but this was super fun. I am obviously never going to do anything nearly as cool as annihilating the entire squad in this. I'm assuming this is why this is built this way. But man, that was incredibly satisfying to see. And obviously, anybody who does have questions, please feel free to speak up. This is a game that I am a huge fan of, and I hope I can explain things reasonably well. I know Phantom Brigade, so I once upon a time used to get advice that I was pretty good at streaming strategy games because I would actually explain my thought process. And I like Phantom Brigade so much that I actually feel that I kind of get into my own head a whole lot and I don't explain it well. But if somebody like draws my attention to it, I'm usually good at kind of getting back on track. So it's obviously on me to like get better at that sort of stuff. But if you do have questions, if you are sort of thinking about picking the game up or just otherwise want to know what the deal is, I can try and do my best at bringing myself back on side. So one drawback about sort of this scorched earth approach is that there's a consequence for destroying enemy mechs. In this case, it is more expensive to pick up certain types of loot. So this wasn't always the case, but there's basically a budget that you have. The budget goes up by the number of units that you destroy, but it is a lot easier to pick up items that have not been destroyed. And also, different parts have different scrap values. So it costs less to dismantle something and take it for supplies. The one thing I know I'd sort of say, I already put like the comments inside of it, but when this was first implemented, the one drawback I sort of run into right now is that I don't really have a very good frame of reference for what my existing parts are doing. I just kind of take it mission by mission. So I always my tendency is to just go for uncommon stuff and let the chips fall where they may. Whereas I would probably get quite a bit more mileage if I said it's like, well, I'm realistically not going to be using this part, so let's just scrap it anyway. But my tendency is to just pick up parts and then scrap them after the fact. But if you have a little clearer idea of like what you're looking to pick up, and yes, there is mech customization in this game. You can sort of choose, well, do you want to turn something into raw components that you will build new parts from, or do you think it's is this spark enough to sort of spend the extra cost to bring that into your inventory? So the other trade-off, actually, it looks like it's all arms. Oh no, there's one upper here though. So again, not everything is built equally. So for instance, if we choose to dismantle this arm, we get 45 supplies, and that's going to cost us 10. We also still spend here, but we get 60 supplies for scrapping the upper body. So in addition to the fact that there is a value for parts, as in you're claiming rare parts for your mechs, There is also some consideration in terms of which things you want to scrap for your just to maximize your return. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and take as many medium body parts as I can. So this will cost quite a bit. And this is because generally, like, I'm pretty generic in some of my tastes, so being able to grab mediums is just helpful. Oh, we've got an axe. Okay. I don't have a good melee unit inside the brigade yet, so this will be fun. Oh yeah, this is the stuff that you get for free. So we've got an Ox Heavy workshop charge, a Shield workshop charge, 2 plating workshop charges. This was added in, I think, 2 updates ago. But basically, there's quite a bit more that you can build inside of the workshop, but you do not get an unlimited supply. I mean, again, you're fighting you're an insurgency, right? You're fighting the occupation, so it's not like you have access to the full armory. But you do get some guaranteed drops. So in this case, we got a nice axe, and you better believe we are going to be making some significant use out of it. So it looks like it's 25 for each part. I could grab the Spark handgun. Now, I have actually used a Spark before, and it does have, in addition to being concussive, it does have a longer range. So it's tempting. What's that going to cost? That's going to cost me 25. Okay. So I can basically get away with 2 more of these, and then we have to scrap the rest. I think I am actually going to try and go for the lights, just because that might help me with the hammer. So the rest of the question now is, where are my best returns for scrap? I think the upper always gives you the most in terms of supplies. I believe if we scrap some of the uncommons, we do get uncommon components, but I'm not quite at the point where I want to well, yeah, actually, sorry, with that in mind, I should probably scrap the uncommon stuff that I'm not taking home. Okay, so 85 supplies, 8 uncommon components, and then potentially some upgrades for our mechs. I can see that work. And the game will automatically repair your unit. So that was a convoy run. We still need to take out the outposts. And again, a little bit like XCOM, there is sort of the strategic map. Actually, the campaign is sort of, as you saw from the notes, it's been most of the activity over the last few updates. So we will be seeing some story events coming up, and they did mention some new events that we'd be running into. But what I am going to do right now is just take a minute here and see if any of this stuff that we liberated is... Okay, nope, I'm probably not going to be replacing an uncommon with a rare. Yeah, I think I prefer the dissipation. Although, I should question whether or not dissipation is exactly what I... Wait, this is the Sleipnir. This isn't the arrow. Or the hammer. Okay, still, it's rare, so... I think I want to keep the integrity. Really? I put medium arms on this thing? Huh. So let's at least get this arrow arm on it. Not only does it have more overall defensive power, it currently has a regenerator on it. I'm actually willing to sacrifice the regenerator. Let's see if we can get a better defensive module on it. We cannot. So I do give up a little heat dissipation, but I am willing to compromise on that. For the right arm, again, looks like we have to give up a little dissipation, but we do get improvements. Do you have any major issues with the UI you've seen so far? It looks functional. Oh yes, this is the expert the expert view of the UI. I usually know better than to comment on UI stuff, because generally what happens with me is it's, you know, I'll like get really cranky and I'm like, where's the stupid? Oh, there it is. So I'm also very easily pleased, so. Okay, so we gave it skinny legs, but it's got really high integrity, so we are not going to mess around with any of that. Okay, I am reasonably happy with where the hammer's at now. Sleipnir. So we did wind up giving this... I don't know, it's pretty good equipment on this thing already. So it looks like with the hydraulics... This might be an arm I actually wind up putting on the hammer, now that I think of it. So the catch is that I lose the heat dissipation. And the bonus is that I get better mass on it. Is there somebody else I'm willing to give up heat dissipation on in exchange for better defensibility? Because usually the Sleipnir is kind of in the thick of it. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to put it on one of the shielded units. No, actually, here's what we're gonna do. I want a melee unit. So we're gonna go to the workshop. New music. But it may not be the, God, I can never remember. Okay, my pilots are cranky. Units, this is edit but not make a new one. Inventory is inventory. Why am I being an idiot and forgetting how I can make... Wait a minute, mech frame, that's right. So rather than change an existing unit, we will we'll just get ready for a new one. And we will now take our extremely tired troops and throw them into the outpost. You can attempt to gain control of the structure by mounting an assault with your squad. A resupply point. They're often well guarded, and units are eager to call for reinforcements if attacked. Raids with retreat points allow for loot without having to eliminate all hostiles. Needless to say, we better hope we don't run into a lot of concussive damage. Getting negative IFF code. We've got hostiles in range. Engage at will. Reinforcements should be coming soon. Okay. So, what are we up against? 2 turns before reinforcements arrive. I do tend to ignore turrets at my peril. So, looks like they have a heavy weapon as well. And a shotgun shield combo. So, do not engage this in melee. Okay, so the first thing I want to try and do is get this heavy weapon shooting into the back of its ally. Oh, there's another turret. Yeah, it works for me. Real question is whether or not I'm going to be able to get away with... I think... I can't remember if you can get heat information on this screen right now. I'll say no. push it a little bit further for safety. But yeah, the thing I really want to, it's not going to be that much damage that I do on the crossfire, but there is a slightly practical consideration to this as well. So it's going to be sort of spraying through this building. It's very unlikely it's going to drill through here. So a bunch of impact gets absorbed here. Then on my way to this building, part of it gets interrupted. And so the last of the shot kind of comes through. Now this is a pretty thin wall, so it is possible that I'm going to pay for sort of hanging around here. So at the end of the turn, I might try and move around the hill or something. But actually, maybe I can get away with that now. So if I try, I just try and move like this instead. Basically same effect. And I suppose the worst that happens is that I have the turret to block the attack. So while they're having that adventure, I'm going to get my own heavy weapon and focus it on the enemy. And this is a bit of a slow-moving one, so let's... I guess I don't actually need to be... I think I want to wrap this up. No, that doesn't work. I'll take the heat damage. I'm potentially opening myself up to the... to the shotgunner, but I'm hoping that maybe we'll have something to show for that. Everybody's dashing, so why can't I? This is really just trying to get an objective nice and early, and the added bonus is I do get to do a little damage to an enemy unit. If I can, I try and make sure it's done before the end of the 5 second counter. Not worth it. That's just so that I can have a clean run. Now the one drawback here is that it's quite possible that this unit is going to turn around and say, "Oh look, Kilo's just sitting out in the open, and I've got a really big gun." The good news is that Kilo also moves very fast. So, well, it's the Sleipnir that moves fast, but Kilo is piloting it and doing a darn good job. And of course, because everybody's exhausted, they're going to be even more susceptible to the concussive damage. I think that's how that works anyway. So, I want to be mindful of the fact that this thing might cause us some pain. On the other hand, though, I do want to, I have the beam, I have the shots coming after this unit, because if we can take out one of those arms, the heavy weapon's done for. So it's a shot worth taking, and we'll see how the turn winds up. Beautiful. So I know it says out of range, but it kind of seems to me that if you just fire at point blank range, all of a sudden the aiming penalty doesn't really have the same teeth. So I'm just kind of shuffling my units to positions where they can, take objectives.
I don't know if this will be very effective, but this will at least make something of my heat. And at this point, I really think we just need to move closer into the level. Although I can get an idea of... Okay, yeah. I'm more thinking of what the retaliation's going to be, so I just want to move into the middle of the map if I can. Still standing. Alright, the crate is locked on. Our drone has the cords. Should be descending any second now. And the enemy units should be showing up any second. Sierra 2 on the field. What's taking so long? Surround them and finish them off. Oh, they are right behind me. So I'm actually a little curious on this. So I am obviously attacking it at a suboptimal range. It looks like we did 657 damage, although the expected damage or the full volley damage of this weapon is 900. So it does seem like I paid a price for not doing it right. Okay, and it's not gonna like. So I think the best thing I can do here is I'll get to the edge of the... Actually, you know what? If I just stay where I am, so wait until they land. If I just start shooting at the ground... I'm not sure if that covers the hill or not. It sort of looks like it does. This seems to be a slightly better chance. I may be wasting my time doing this, but it's something, so. Okay. So here I do kind of, even though it's not an optimal range, I'm going to be sitting here to take the objective. The reason why I'm keeping the Sleipnir here and not trying to move Polaris is this is a fairly slow-moving mech. I want to get them in the fight as early as I can. Alternatively, I want to, I want to get them eliminating a threat. So what probably will happen here is I'll move them to eliminate this turret. But yeah, the Sleipnir, even though it's sort of out of the game for one round while it's collecting the cargo, it's the one that's most likely to be able to run into the environment. Also, let's just take a second here. Doesn't this look beautiful? I'll try and get rid of that noise. Okay, what do I do with my big gun? Let's say I jet first, then I walk. I really don't know how I feel about this, but... too hot. Yeah, so I'm sort of tied up. I have not really tried to take advantage of enemy units dropping in, so I sort of want to see how this works. I normally wouldn't want to have two units focusing on a turret. Actually, you know what? This is a complete waste of a turn. Because if that turret's already down to 314, I'm almost certain it's done with the... with the attack I'm putting on it. Okay, that's not going to work. I think when I made this squad, the plan was that I would want something that was a little more like beefy and mean, but man, it does take a while to walk around.
Okay, so there is a problem with this plan. What are they hitting me with? A heavy launcher. 825 on the unit that becomes useless if I lose a body part. The experiment is just not worth it. But we still get to try it. All right, let's see how this works. Okay, premature on the attack, but it did actually do some damage. So of course now we get to see how the enemy reacts. One of the reasons that I was okay with keeping this unit up is that I've got a shield, so I don't need to worry too much about the retaliation, although the cannon's not really going to help me all that much, just because it's going to be focusing kind of on the ground here and not really doing anything else. So what I will do for protection, I'm going to... First of all, I should see what they're packing. So shotgun and a beam. Okay. So I'm going to try and do a little bit of a dance. And again, the aim here is just to try and get them to do as much damage as possible on their own units. I'm going to make sure that... Okay. So the shield's just got to go up right in time for the attack to come through. And then the other big goal here is to make sure that I don't go in this red area and get hit by the missile. That second part is actually a little harder than it looks. Or sorry, not the second, but the second phase with this shield is a little harder than it looks, because there is a point where they stop crossing the beams. So the drawback here is that I start pointing my shield on this unit, but this unit's kind of coming around the side, and it's like putting up a shield doesn't protect you 360. The game is really good at modeling sort of where everything should be hitting. So, of course, the other important factor is if I'm able to okay, that's actually looking pretty good. I think I'll put up my shield just as a precaution. The other option that I have, by the way, because I am a heavy... Well, they're heavy too, I guess, so... it is viable to throw up your shield and just go barreling into the enemy units. But in this particular case here, I actually think it's to my advantage to just take some of the shotgun shots on my shield, let them sort of damage each other. And I think the worst that happens here is, let's say that this unit gets taken out by its own unit. I believe the shield should reflect the beam back on the enemy unit. So in the meantime, I'm going to see if I can get I'm going to get my own shot on the enemy. It looks like I might actually be able to pull that off. So I got to make sure that things cool down a little bit. Yeah, I don't know, that's looking pretty good. And then of course the Sleipnir's got to run and try and cover a lot of distance. One potentially useful role that they have is just putting some hurt on the on this turret. So I know I'm attacking from far away, but honestly that's kind of... I don't expect miracles from the Sleipnir. I just kind of expect a little bit of chip damage. So I'm really curious to see how this works. So curious, in fact, we're going to watch this in slow motion. Oh, who did I forget? Well, I mean, it kind of already does have orders. Like, it's not like I want to start firing again, so I'm okay with that. Sorry, all the leaves. And now the beams. Although that was hitting me. That's actually hitting me for quite a bit. So I guess they don't reflect. I want to see what damage my unit's taking. I can't seem to bring it up right now. Okay, we'll see what the Butcher's Bill is after a little bit, because we clearly did not... Like, everybody seems to be taking a whole bunch of damage. Oh, nope, sorry. There is an error. Entity does not have a component. Cool. If anybody from Brace Yourself is watching, is there a useful way for me to report this, or is it better for me to just clip it? And if nobody from Brace Yourself is watching, I totally get it, because I've been taking my sweet time to get through this. I'll just give it a little while. What we're going to do, I believe this actually gives us a recommendation. I think usually it just says leave the mission and come back in. It is recommended to terminate this play session after submitting the details of the issue. Some exceptions can have significant side effects and can result in seemingly unrelated issues in various areas of the game. Only continue playing if you are confident that a given exception has no side effects. For example, if there was an exception when attempting to access a part in an inventory and not an exception in the middle of the core gameplay loop, like combat debriefing, potential for side effects goes up considerably in the latter case. Pressing this button would take you to log view, allowing you to confirm the severity of the error. Sending order, I'm watching, but you're the writer, not the text person, so not sure, sorry. No worries, and actually, sorry, I should have, I've been introducing everybody, I know, we've interacted before. I was actually really hoping that I get a chance to see the Small Pharma event. And I don't remember. We had a lovely interaction about Chiefs. And Lulu, thank you. That was like one of my favorite moments of like, oh man, this is a really fun game to interact with. I think if I turn... You know, I always keep... Everybody has, like, the list of things that they wanted to do, but I was delighted by the fact that the Discord had, like, a small little digression on sheaths and sheafs. So, I wanted to, like, if I ever do turn around to modding, I think I am going to have a moment where somebody, like, you know, makes a comment on a word or something like that, and the option is, like, you lose an hour of time as the Brigade like discusses the etymology of a particular word, or you get a morale drop as everybody you know, quietly wonders whether or not they were right all along. I don't know. I haven't really thought it through, but Anyways, what I'm going to do here, I'll just take a second to... So I think probably what happened, just based on the does not have a component, all of that, I have a suspicion that what happened was something in our cacophony of weapon activity probably led to something not existing anymore. And this is still going. But the most practical thing for us is that we can't actually get out of this combat screen. In this case, the best option here is just simply to load from the closest autosave. So apologies, I was kind of curious to see where all this would go, but it just means we get a chance to do some more Phantom Brigade. I also seem to have a big hit to my internet connectivity. Huh. Well, now I've gone and done it. Cutting in and out? Mostly down now. Okay. Wow! Sorry, folks. So I'm just taking a look at Twitch right now, and my upload is occasionally dropping to 0. I'm in, like, the red. So it does seem that people are able to experience the stream on the chance that you're able to hear this. I am possibly going to need to do some maintenance on my own part. We are going to be back for the other half of the Phantom Brigade stream, but I got to find out what's going on with the internet. So I will be back in just a minute. I'm going to shut down the stream, and we'll reload everything. Sorry about this. So I will be back in just a moment.